I'm very pleased to welcome y'all to have Elspeth McMahon. Elspeth is our inaugural Associate Vice President for Maritime Initiatives, just barely beginning her second year at ODU. She has an extensive background in commercial, military, and education sectors of maritime industry. So the sort of the big umbrella view. She's actually currently a officer or a commander, to be precise, in the U.S. Navy Reserve, and she's been a participant working with Military Sea Lift Command, working with the U.S. Coast Guard, having a chief mate's license. She sailed commercially, can sail much bigger vessels than I think, safe to say, most of the rest of us. And she's also been an assistant professor in maritime transportation at Ms. SUNY Maritime College. She also has a deep background academically in marine transportation from the Maritime Academy, master's in international transportation management, also from SUNY Maritime, and she's completing a PhD at in nautical sciences from University of Antwerp in Belgium. So Elspeth, I've had the pleasure of traveling with her to the Oceans Conference early this summer and co-presenting in a tutorial workshop. So pleased to have you take it away, Elspeth. For those here, we do have questions usually at the end, but you can also put your questions in the chat, and we'll be recording this for those who want to catch up on it later or pass it along in a couple days. So take it away, Elspeth.
Great. Thanks, Tom, for that introduction. So nice to meet you all. Thank you for joining me today. So I'd like to give you an overview on what the maritime initiatives are, what ODU is doing in the maritime space, and kind of the way ahead. So I do have a PowerPoint, and I know this is being recorded, and if anyone needs the PowerPoint, I'd be happy to send it along. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
And everyone can hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so what are the maritime initiatives? So as Tom mentioned, I've been here just over a year. So I got here in July of last year. And basically, there was a big study, a taxonomy report done on the university. And they were trying to figure out what are the gaps for the school, for this region, what's important to really focus on to go ahead with Old Dominion University. And what kept coming up over and over is maritime. And maritime covers everything. It's coastal resiliency, it's engineering, it's the military, it's the Navy base, it's the shipyards, it's commerce, it's supply chain, basically it's anything that touches the water can be considered maritime. So I'm basically here to help programming, curriculum development, increase research, and increase industry relationships in the maritime space. So why the focus on maritime? Well, there was that proven need with that large study that was done a couple of years ago for ODU. And also think of our location. So roughly 70% of the earth is covered by water. We're in a very strong industrial area for the maritime industry here in Norfolk and in Hampton Roads. And when you think about everything you use on a daily basis, everything you touch, everything you order, over 90% of the world's goods is transported by ship. Most people don't think about that on a daily basis. I do from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. I'm thinking about the maritime industry. And there's just so much in this area. Being from the merchant marine, most people in my industry know that Norfolk is the center of everything maritime, but a lot of people in this region don't know what assets they have right here in their own backyard. So that's what I'm kind of here to do to help promote that. So what are some of our region's unique maritime assets? Well, we are in the coastal zone. So a lot of you know this based on, your job and living in this area, but we have one of the world's deepest natural harbors, and we're actually increasing our channels to 55 feet, which will make us one of the deepest ports on the eastern seaboard, which would be huge for the industry and the economy here. to allow for two-way traffic in Norfolk. We have the world's largest Navy base, you know, less than a couple miles away from campus. Largest concentration in the country of shipbuilding and ship repair. So we have Newport News Shipbuilding, but we also have a number of other shipyards right here in this area, like Lyons, BAE, NASCO, Kiwanis, etc. Top port, Port of Virginia, which has a bunch of different terminals, including NIT, VIG, Virginia International Gateway, North International Terminal, and they are very well ahead of the game when it comes to automation. They're very functional. They're growing leaps and bounds. They're really doing incredibly well compared to the country and compared to the world. So very, very competitive ports, and it's so great to have that also right here in our own backyard. We also have a cluster of related industries. So think of cybersecurity. We have the new school for cyber, alternative energy. I'll talk a little bit about offshore wind, autonomous systems. Also a lot of public labs like J Labs, NASA, Wallops Flight Facility, and a lot of other opportunities. I mentioned the deepening of the harbor, the building of Craney Island, and the expansion of Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. So that's the richness of this area. So at ODU, we have a number of centers already in existence that are very focused or at least overlapping with maritime. For example, I'm sitting right now over at VMASC. This is Virginia's Modeling, Analysis, and Simulation Center. We're located off of College Ave in Suffolk. So this is where my main office is located. Within VMASC, we have a couple of centers. Two of them have recently combined. So if you've heard of Digital Ship and Maritime Industrial Base Ecosystem, or MIBE, I'll talk a little bit more into detail about those two business units that have recently combined. We also have up on the Eastern Shore, VISA, Executive Director is Dave Bowles. This is the Virginia Institute for Spaceflight and Autonomy. And we're also building upon a new Center for Mission Engineering. We have another of other centers associated with ODU and owned by ODU that overlap into maritime. So a couple that are very close to your hearts, the CCPO, Center for Coastal Physical Oceanography, and ICAR, the Institute for Coastal Adaptation and Resilience, with the Executive Director, Dr. Jessica Whitehead. So what is the mission of the maritime initiatives? So we created this mission and the vision and the strategic goals in the past few months. So the mission, we want to provide progressive education, research, and innovation that promotes the blue economy. And the blue economy, again, being anything that is maritime related, anything that touches the water. So don't just think of ocean going and shipping. It's everything that's inland, rivers, transportation, engineering, coastal adaptation, covers everything. Our vision is to be globally recognized as a maritime center of excellence. And we're putting into works a lot of programs to help us get there. And we want to be a destination. So we want people to think of ODU as a maritime-centric university and to choose us to do research, to come here for education, to choose us as a partner for things dealing with the maritime industry in the future. Some of our strategic goals. So obviously we're an R1 institution, we're a well-known university, so we want to make sure we promote education. Interdisciplinary academic programs, we want to increase enrollment, diversity and inspire leadership, and prepare students for the future of the industry, not just what the industry is today. And we really want to train our students to build careers in this industry and not just have a 9-to-5 job, but really to promote and grow their careers in this space. Engagement is another strategic goal of the maritime initiatives. So we really want to work on growing our strategic partnerships with industry, also with other academic institutions, whether it be K through 12, other community colleges, or other maritime training institutions, and other universities in this region and beyond. And also with the government, and that includes the military and everything we have on that side. We also want to make sure we always are engaged with the community so they're aware of what's going on in this region, and to better connect students and faculty to grow in research, promote internship and career opportunities, and also represent at conferences. The next strategic goal is research and innovation. So we want to be the partner of choice to pair with for research. We want to help solve key industrial problems, also while protecting the natural environment and promoting entrepreneurial growth. And the last strategic goals we have is communication, which I'll talk a lot about, marketing, communication, and transparency. So the maritime initiatives, when you think about the university, we have around 6 areas of focus, and this will always kind of change and adapt as the maritime initiatives grows. So this is the overview. I'm going to go kind of into detail into each one. Okay, the first one is workforce pipeline and outreach, and this is done primarily through MIBE and Digital Ship over here at VMask. So if you've heard of MIBE and Digital Ship, there's been a lot of changes over the summer that I'm very excited to announce. So we have a new executive director, Admiral Mark Whitney, who's now in charge of MIBE and Digital Ship. And these two business units are merging, and they are coming together in what's called the Virginia Digital Maritime Center. So this is hot off the press. So as you see, we have the MIBE and we have Digital Ship, and they are combining into this one center located here at VMask. And they primarily do workforce development, curriculum development, and outreach. So as you see from this slide, over $17 million worth of funding that MIBE and Digital Ship have done independently over the last few years. And they've overlapped into with so many programs that they're doing that it made sense for an outsider to be able to understand what MIBE and Digital Ship does, that it made sense to combine them. So what is this new center? So Virginia Digital Maritime Center, or the VDMC, what does this center do? So basically, with a shared mission to support the regional maritime industry, these two units have consolidated, and this merger will basically build upon the success of both organizations, and they'll combine efforts to optimize Navy fleet readiness by strengthening the region's shipbuilding, repair, and modernization supply base and infrastructure with innovative research, curriculum development, and K-12 outreach geared towards the future for the maritime workforce. So again, they're really focused on applied research for the industry, and this includes shipbuilding supply chain risks, the impact of cybersecurity, helping and doing projects with port and shipyard automation, involving AI and machine learning empowered training, multimodal training, learning analytics, and also curriculum development and STEM outreach. So they have a number of programs I'd be happy to give you more information on, but there's so much out there. I don't want to take too much time going over each individual one, but a lot with curriculum development and outreach, and this is for the Navy and for K-12 for the skilled workforce pipeline for the maritime industry, and also workforce development. So the next area of focus for the maritime initiatives is university curriculum development. So I'm very happy to announce that this past Tuesday, SHEV, or basically the body that helps or that regulates new programming for the state of Virginia, they have approved our proposed School of Supply Chain, Logistics, and Maritime Operations. So again, new hot off the press news, we're very happy to announce this new school. So what is this new school? So this school, basically the current program for the Masters in Maritime Supply Chain Management, as well as the graduate certificates, will move to this new school. And we have offices set up on the 3rd floor of IRP1 right on Monarch Way. So I will also have an office there. So I'll have an office on main campus. And we're going to start our search for the executive director. Professor Mileta Tomovic is the current interim director of this school. And we're hoping to grow this school where really the sky will be the limit with what we can do. So we want to work with the new executive director when they are named, work with industry, work with our advisory board, work with the university to decide what are the best programs for this school. And it's really to develop supply chain logistics, which are doing nothing but growing this region. They're growing 30% in the next 10 years, adding thousands of jobs to this region. So think of, it's not just maritime. Maritime is always related to supply chain because of the port. Everything, kind of begins and ends at the port. But when you think of supply chain, you think of how does cargo get from point A to point B? You think of logistics, think of trucking, think of rail. So everything that's interconnected with logistics, with supply chain, that'll be involved in this new school. So we're really hoping to grow this new school. It's going to be, one of my focuses, and I'll be also teaching a new course for this school, which I'll talk about shortly. But very exciting news. And on the website that I'll mention in a minute, we'll have a link to that news article about the new school. What else are we doing with curriculum development? So Newport News Public Schools, we are doing a grant jointly with Newport News Public Schools to develop a maritime and coastal innovation collaboratory. So this is the opportunity for a Newport News Public Schools, a high school, to be developed that will hopefully be housed at Brooks Crossing over at Newport News, which is an ODU-owned entity. And they're focused on coastal resilience and supply chain to get programming in at the high school level, to establish more of a workforce pipeline for these industries, and to have more outreach to students at the K through 12 level. Karen Sanzo is the person at Brooks Crossing that is leading this charge, and I'm also involved with this grant. The course that I will be teaching for the new school is called IMIC. So this hasn't been approved yet. I'm finishing writing up this course, but it'll be a hybrid T 300 level course called Intro to the Maritime Industry and Careers. So the first few classes within this course, this elective, will be an overview of the maritime industry. So I'll give an overview of terminology, of different ships, of ports, of how the maritime industry works, how cargo is moved. And then we're going to go into basically like a seminar series. So have a lot of leaders from industry to come in and guest lecture, to talk to students about what careers are out there, what they do for a living, what skill sets are needed. And it's everything from maritime law to engineering from the shipyard, to tanker operations, to environmental sciences. So really a broad spectrum across the board. So I have quite an exciting lineup with a lot of really great leaders from industry to help talk to these students about the exciting careers that they otherwise wouldn't know about. And it's all aspects. So when you think of maritime, don't think of just about working in the shipyard or being an officer in the Navy. You can be working for HR, you can be working for management, for marketing, for IT, for cyber. Really, it's anything that interests you, you can have a career that supports the maritime industry. Another thing that I've been doing, which has been very exciting for me to get back in front of students, because I did teach for almost a decade, is the 100 level courses. So I'll be lecturing, and I have lectured for some of the intro or 100 level courses in the Strome College of Business, and also for the Baton College of Engineering, and for a university 100 level course, to get in front of students and let them know of what the maritime industry is and all of the careers that are associated with the maritime industry in this region and beyond. So to give them ideas that if they want to stay in this region, all the opportunities that are here, and I give them examples of actual careers, starting salaries, of companies that are hiring right now, and how to link to these companies. So it's really a great way to get the word out to our students that, again, no matter what they want to study, doesn't matter what major, what course, what minor that they're interested in, that they can potentially have a career that supports the maritime industry. I'm also looking at certificates, crossovers, and working with other maritime training institutions in this region to see where we can line up and we can collaborate, and to help go for other research projects and help kind of cross our curriculum to help support our programs here at ODU. Perfect example is I've started talking with MyTags. MyTags is up in Maryland, and it's basically a training facility for those working on ships in the maritime industry. And they don't have graduate studies, but they want to. It's part of the MyTags, part of the acronym. The AGS is and graduate studies, and they're currently not affiliated with any university. So I'm trying to build that partnership to see where we can go and maybe cross-align some of our programming. A perfect example would be our new school and the master's degree in supply chain management. We're also doing a couple things with the Maritime Institute, which is another training facility for mariners in Norfolk that I'll talk about in a minute. A big announcement that I'm sure you've heard of, if you haven't, is the annual campus theme. So Brian Payne has been a great supporter of this, and he created this annual campus theme, and this is called Blue Connections. So Blue Connections is a campus-wide theme where faculty and staff and researchers were invited to apply for internal funding to add or promote or create maritime curriculum, either in current programs or to create new ones. So one example, my course, Intro to the Maritime Industry and Careers, was chosen for the annual campus theme for funding. So I was able to create this new course. A couple other examples of the annual campus theme Blue Connections that have been approved and supported, the Maritime Murals. So there's a program with Natalie Pilato in the College of Arts and Letters, where she's going to create, sorry, Natalia, not Natalie, Natalia Pilato, where she's going to create a new course for maritime themed murals and create artwork that's movable to showcase it in different areas around campus. There's also a couple other professors in the Baton College of Arts and Letters to create a container sound experience. So the thought is to record sounds from nature, from industry, and also to record people that live by the water, that's worked on the water, and have this actual container that you go into where you hear different sounds and different interviews that, again, does nothing but connect you to the maritime industry and what is maritime here in this region. So really kind of a couple cool projects that I never thought I'd work in this area that's kind of out of the box. Another thing is the Barrie Art Museum. So they're doing a couple great things at the Art Museum. One is the creation of a new gallery space, and this will open in spring of 2024. It's called Message in the Bottle, and we're doing it to highlight the maritime industry, our history from this region, and what's going on in contemporary art that's related to maritime right here in Norfolk. So really exciting news that's really kind of out of the box of what you wouldn't expect the maritime industry would be connected to. Another thing with curriculum development, the Baton College of Engineering and Technology, or BSET, has named their Assistant Dean for Maritime and Defense Initiatives. It's Mr. Tony Dean. So he will lead this new kind of push for maritime and defense initiatives at the Baton College of Engineering. So really great to see people really pushing the maritime industry within their colleges and departments by having these new positions. Another area of focus for the maritime initiatives is external outreach. So I'm kind of the outward facing representation of maritime at ODU. I'm out visiting with industry. I've been to a number of different industries in this region, including the shipyards, Fairleigh, Valkyrie, Fugro, Dollar Tree. The Pilot Association even took me out on their boat so I could better understand how the Navy base is around here and the port. NASA, we're getting connected with. We're doing an academic and industry day next month over at NASA. But basically, I'm trying to get out into industry and strengthen our relationships so we can do better research partnerships, have better curriculum, and have better representation from companies in our curriculum. A lot with Newport News, shipbuilding, and better connect the students. I'm also helping increase engagement with student groups like the Propeller Club we have, and also ASNE, American Society of Naval Engineers. Doing more with the Port of Virginia. I'm on the board of the Virginia Maritime Association, which has over 300 industry representation or industry reps from this region. The Propeller Club is a great way to network with industry in this region. I'm a part of Women in Offshore Wind, which is, if you're interested in offshore wind, it's a great way to get connected with the industry. We're also a part of VISRA. We support the Hampton Roads Workforce Council, and just kind of getting our name out there. So a couple projects that we're doing with Newport News Shipbuilding in particular, We've set up a summer faculty fellowship that's doing nothing but growing. So basically getting our researchers over at Newport News to do these research projects that capitalize on their strength and helps ODU get better integrated with Newport News. We also have a Newport News shipbuilding employee here on campus at the College of Engineering part-time. So Mr. Robert Geis is here 2 days a week to help better strengthen our relationship with Newport News shipbuilding. We also had a Newport News Shipbuilding and Huntington Ingalls Industry Day. It was on September 21st, where we had over 150 students talk with Newport News shipbuilding staff about careers, internships, and other opportunities that Newport News has for ODU students. So Newport News Shipbuilding has over 1,000 ODU employees, a lot from engineering, but they also have opportunities in all backgrounds for all students, regardless of their major. They need people with supply chain backgrounds, with environmental backgrounds, with HR and marketing backgrounds. So really, they need people of all backgrounds. What else? The Nauticus. So very exciting partnership with the Nauticus. So the Nauticus is redoing a lot of their gallery spaces. And we have partnered with the Nauticus to create this Gear Up display, which will be an interactive gamified experience for people young and old to basically to expose patrons of the Nauticus to careers in the maritime industry. So I've been working very closely with them, the school and industry, to create this interactive gamified display that will basically highlight different maritime related careers, what training you need to get into these careers, and it'll link them to the ODU Maritime website. And it'll really be a fun way to get people exposed to careers in this industry, because we need workforce. Everyone needs workforce nationwide, but really the maritime industry is what we do well. And there's so many jobs available that people just don't know about. So this will probably be up and running next summer, and I'll let you know more information as that comes online. We're at the design stage right now, and that'll be called Gear Up. I've been doing a lot of representation at local, national, and international conferences. So Professor Tom Allen mentioned Oceans 23. So we're lucky to go to Limerick, Ireland, and represent ODU. And we did a whole half-day tutorial on autonomous systems, along with also Jerry Cronin from Open Seas. So that was really great. And we did co-host Oceans 22 in Virginia Beach last year. I just got elected to the Marine Board, which is huge. We'll meet in DC, and it's a great way to help promote and have some say in what's going on in the maritime industry. I'll also be attending the Maritime Risk Symposium up in New York at SUNY Maritime College, where my former employer. And last year I spoke at NAVTech, the Navigational Technology Conference. I'll be attending again this year. That'll be held in December down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There's really a lot of opportunities for promotion with these conferences. And every conference I've been to, everyone is so supportive that ODU is really going into the maritime space, because there is such a need. And really for maritime education and training, it's been very concentrated at the maritime academies that are within the United States, but they don't do research and they don't have PhD programs, and they're limited to what they do. They train mariners, and they do it really well, but there's so much more than just putting mariners out into the industry. We need everything else. So at these conferences, I get so much support, and everyone that I meet is really like, wow, ODU is really kind of taking the reins and stepping out into the maritime space, where we can, build these connections and do a lot with research, with innovation, and building curriculum to help support this industry. So those are some of the things that I've been doing with external outreach. Really been very busy to help represent ODU at different events, also including meet your legislators up in Richmond, Virginia through the VMA, attending the State of the Port, the VMA Port Day. So a lot going on regionally and nationally. Another area of focus for the maritime initiatives is being kind of that connector, so internal cohesion. So I have created what's called the Maritime or M Collaborative. This is a voluntary group of faculty and researchers that come together quarterly to discuss what's going on at the university at Maritime. I would like to invite you to our next Maritime M Collaborative. It's a luncheon held October 11th, 11:45 to 1:45 p.m. It'll be held at the executive dining room at the Web Center. So please come, and this is a great way to learn specifically what's going on in different departments within Maritime. It's free, and you get lunch, you get fed, and you get to really interact with other faculty and researchers at ODU. So we're really here to promote interdisciplinary research, programs, and funding opportunities internally at the school. I want to focus the school on the future of the industry, specifically advanced manufacturing, mission engineering, offshore wind, coastal resiliency, and autonomous systems. A couple things that we have just done within the past couple weeks. I have paired with the Baton College of Engineering and the New School for Internships and Co-ops to submit a grant through the NSF for an offshore wind workforce conference to be held potentially at ODU. So if we do win this grant that was just submitted last week, we will next year hold a workforce conference in offshore wind at ODU. We partnered with Dominion Energy, with the Southeast Wind Coalition, with the Hampton Roads Workforce Council, with Avangrid, and with Centura College to go for this grant. So fingers crossed, I'll keep you in the loop of what happens with this grant. Another huge and exciting opportunity that we just submitted for last week is the MARAD Center of Excellence. If you're not familiar with MARAD is the Maritime Administration. It's the federal arm that's in charge of the merchant marine in the United States. These centers of excellences are not funded currently, but the thought is once you have this designation, and if they are funded in the future, that only designated MARAD centers of excellence can go for these fundings or go for these funding opportunities. So we just submitted our application as a MARAD Center of Excellence, which would be huge if we got this opportunity. So we paired with the Maritime Institute, which is located on Robin Hood Road in Norfolk, Virginia. It's the Maritime Training Institution that we're trying to grow a relationship with. So they're the lead institution, but if we get this designation, it'll put us on the map in the eyes of MARAD and in the eyes of other training institutions that ODU is a maritime-centric university. I've also established a faculty advisory committee, and basically we have about 12 or 13 people on this board, and we have representation from all colleges and departments at the university. And this is so I have guidance. So it's not just, me forging ahead on my own of where I want, Maritime to be at ODU, but it's so I have influence from all colleges and departments at ODU to help guide of where the maritime initiatives are going. The next area of focus for the maritime initiatives is maritime small business innovation and entrepreneurship. So ODU has recently announced a new Associate Vice President for Innovation and Commercialization, Mr. Kevin Leslie, which will help spearhead innovation and entrepreneurship at ODU, which is great. We're really growing in leaps and bounds in the right directions at ODU. We have the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship on Bank Street in downtown Norfolk. This is called the IIE. The executive director is Mr. Paul Olson. So at the IIE, we have a number of centers. One is very maritime centric. It is called the Open Seas Technology Innovation Hub. The executive director is Mr. Jerry Cronin, and this center is basically to help promote and support and grow maritime businesses, help promote innovation, entrepreneurship, and in particular, commercialization of maritime associated companies and industries. So they have their own webpage, and again, executive director is Mr. Jerry Cronin. At the IIE, we also have a Veterans Business Outreach Center. We have a Women's Business Center and a Business Development Center. The last area of focus for the maritime initiatives is marketing, communication, and advertisement. So I mentioned briefly that, this region really does not promote or advertise its best asset, which is maritime. So I want to change that. So I'm trying to push with the community, with students, with faculty, and the industry that ODU is a maritime-centric university, that there's tons of opportunity for employment, for career growth right here in our own backyard. And the way to do that is through communication. But I'm only one person. There's only so many conferences I can go to and people I can speak to. There's only so many hours in a day. So I've created an odu.edu/maritime website as a resource for everything happening in the industry in one place. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can pull up this odu.edu maritime website. So this website really it's great to have. It just got launched last week, and it's odu.edu/maritime. As you can see, it has our mission, strategic goals right at the top. It has all of my contact information here. And then we have a bunch of great quotes of ODU graduates and what they're doing. Perfect example is Captain Janet Days, commanding officer of Naval Station Norfolk, ODU grad. We have other great leaders in industry that have graduated from ODU. And here we have all of the academic programs that are related to maritime at ODU. So here are the ones that, for example, will go to the new school, the Masters of Science in Maritime Trade and Supply Chain Management. But also I've included a whole list of other programming that are related to maritime at ODU. So you can see them all here: undergrad, grad, and certificates. We also have news. So this is a photo from our last Maritime Symposium. And news that's happening within ODU that's related to maritime. And this is what's a really great part of this website: resources. So student organizations, career opportunities, everything links to the career openings right now, mostly in this area, but also beyond. Internship opportunities. So if you haven't heard, ODU has recently announced their new Monarch Center for Internships and Co-ops. The executive director is Dr. Barbara Blake, who I've been working very closely with. We're going to set up an actual link for internships specific to maritime, and I'm helping connect Barbara with the maritime industry to set up internships. So we're currently speaking with Newport News Shipbuilding, with NOAA, and a bunch of other industries to help get internships set up. Specifically for the maritime industry, and we'll have this set up by next year. I'm also listing research, funding, and scholarship opportunities. So this is great for our students and also for faculty and researchers. I'm going to be adding a bunch more this week. I'll be updating this web page or this website twice a month. So we'll have an archive of all the opportunities. And then useful links. So the Propeller Club is a great way to network with the industry, the VMA, the Nautical Institute, a bunch of things that I'm involved with. Another great thing that's happening in this region is called WISTA. So WISTA is Women's International Shipping and Trade Association. It's a global group that's really well recognized in the industry. I did a lot with them when I was working up in New York. They have never had a regional chapter until now. So they just started a Hampton Roads chapter this summer. So if you're a woman and you work somehow in the maritime industry, please join. So the link is right here. So here's all the useful links, external and internal. So as you see, I have ICAR right here, and a lot of other internal links for ODU. And then the other regional maritime and training institutions in this region. And at the bottom, I have local and national maritime events. So we have the Maritime and Collaborative Luncheon. So you are invited again to learn more about the maritime initiatives. We'll also have a guest speaker, Professor Kim, who will talk about the history of the US with the Korean maritime history. And then a bunch of other events happening here. I also want to give a plug for our next Maritime Symposium, which will be held April 12th on campus next semester. And the Maritime Symposium is basically to bring academia, industry, and government together at ODU to better connect faculty, students, and the community to the maritime industry. So that's the website. So again, please check it out. It's brand new. It just launched last week, and it's odu.edu/maritime. So I'm going to bring my PowerPoint back up here real quick. Yep, so that's the website, and that's all I have. So here is my email if you have any questions.